So at this point, I'm very convinced that some people have no idea what a subpoena is, right? Because some of these ashies were online talking about, oh, Kid Cudi, he snitching, he went and he talking in court, he testifying. I'm like, y'all have no idea what a subpoena is, do you? Right? And second of all, like, that's besides the point, right? Because like, the most important thing is like, yeah, if you are destroying the community, I'm gonna use whatever means necessary to get you out of my face. What you mean? What you mean? If someone torched my car, either we can have a trial by combat, I torch your car, or the authorities are getting involved. Like, you pick one, girl. Like, what y'all talking about? Oh, Kid Cudi, he snitched. Like, what? Yeah, girl, he telling on somebody who's literally destroying the community y'all claim to care about. Get out of my face.
Way back in 2018, I put out the first book in my Zoraxia series called Zoraxia, Wrath of the God King. Now I'm so excited to let you all know that the sequel to that book, Zoraxia, The Vengeance of Coldwind, is out now. Anywhere you get your ebooks and audiobooks, you can find it there. I'm talking about Amazon, Audible, audiobooks.com, Google Play. Like, it's all there. Also, you can go to www.zoraxia.com to purchase it directly from my site. Check out my series, check out the first book, and make sure you get the second book because it's out now. I'm so excited.
All right, so y'all already know how we do it over here. All the links to everything I'll be discussing will be in my description box. So Kid Cudi testified Thursday that Diddy broke into his Hollywood Hills home in 2011 after finding out he was dating Combs' ex-girlfriend, of course, Cassie, and said he was sure Combs was behind the torching of his car weeks later. Speaking at the trial in Manhattan, Kid Cudi said that while he and Cassie were briefly dating, he took her to a West Hollywood hotel in order to get her away from the seething Combs. While there, he said he got a call from Combs' assistant, Clark, Capricorn Clark. She told him that Diddy and an affiliate were in Kid Cudi's house and she had been forced to go with them. So I found this so interesting because, like, Diddy's own assistant, I guess, was feeling guilty about being in somebody. I'm just like, oh gosh, right? Because, like, there's no way you sitting in Diddy's camp calling Kid Cudi, telling him, like, yo, we in your house. This man got me here. I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? It's just crazy that Diddy's own assistant reached out to Kid Cudi. So he testified that once he heard that Diddy was in his house, he called him up. He called him up while driving home and asked why he was there. Actually, this other article said that Kid Cudi said, I said, MF, you in my house? Like, bro, are you serious? You done took a trip around town, and then Diddy's own assistant go call you, say, hey girl, guess what? We in your house right now, bro. What? I'm getting in my car, I'm revving the engine, girl. Like, what you mean? Let's go. It's time to return home. It's a homecoming. Okay, like, I'm in high school. I need to see why you're in my house. He said that Combs replied, I want to talk to you. I'm over here waiting for you. Girl! So like I said, picture it. Somebody whose assistant themselves warns you, say, hey, we know you're not home right now, but I'm in your house. I don't want to be here, but you know, just let you know. You driving home and you like, bro, what? You called, you said, you in my house? And he's talking about, oh, I'm here. I'll be waiting for you, bro. I'm not going home. Let me tell you something. If I was Kid Cudi, I'm not going home without a few weapons. What you talking about? I'm not showing up. He waiting at my house. Listen, I would be like, all right, it's a battlefield. Clearly, I know my house better than this person does. Let's get to fighting. I promise you. I'd be like, I'm not showing. I'm not pulling up in my own driveway unless I got a couple axes. Do you hear us? I'm not going to describe the weapons because YouTube, you already know. But I'm not showing up without no weapons and a couple goons and a couple of my sisters. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because I'm not going in there alone either. What? You waiting in my home? But when Kid Cudi arrived, He said that Diddy was not there. Like, when Diddy dressed up as the Joker, y'all, we should already know. We should already know, girl. This is a mess. So Kid Cudi got into his house. He said that he found his dog locked in the bathroom, jittery and on edge. Yikes. His security cameras were moved, and some Christmas gifts had been opened. Diddy already left the scene, but Kid Cudi called the police. Later on, we hear the story about Kid Cudi's car getting set on fire. We'd heard this before, but like putting it into context really just adds a whole new layer of sinister to this, right? So a few weeks later, Kid Cudi testified his Porsche convertible was damaged by fire while parked in his driveway. Cudi said he was at a friend's house when his dog sitter called and told him his car was on fire. Jurors were shown photos, as you can see here, of the car's red leather interior scorched and burned, with a hole apparently cut in the fabric roof. A Molotov cocktail was found on the passenger. Gosh. Of course, I understand why Kid Cudi said that stuff about the supervillain, because you really think that you're in an action movie, like throwing Molotov cocktails. Like, you really... every time I think of Diddy, I think of Lucius Lyon and how he threw his kid in a trash can. Like, I really think of Lucius Lyon and how ridiculous. Like, you was really that's what you are doing. That's what you're about to be doing for the rest of your life. Diddy, you about to be in that prison cell. You about to just like Lucius Lyon, bro. Like, girl, that's the only place you gonna be making music. Humming in somebody's cell. Girl, get out of my face. Throwing Molotov cocktail. Cassie testified last week that Diddy threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car and hurt him after he learned she was dating him. Kid Cudi said he didn't have conflicts at the time with anyone other than Diddy. So, of course, he says, I knew he had something to do with it. The lawyers objected to, but I mean, and the jurors were told to disregard that remark. Like, I knew he had something to do with it, but I mean, you can't unhear a remark like that, girl. So Kid Cudi told jurors that he met with Diddy the next day at an LA hotel to try and smooth things over. After the fire, I said, this is getting out of hand. I need to talk to him. Upon arrival, Diddy was standing there. This is what Kid Cudi said. Diddy was standing there staring out the window with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. The description reportedly prompted some laughter among people in the courtroom. At the end of this meeting that they had, that Kid Cudi and Diddy had, like, confrontation, as they stood and shook hands, Kid Cudi said he asked Diddy, what are we going to do about my car? And Diddy gave him a very cold stare and responded, I don't know what you're talking about. Kid thought he was lying, but let it go. And there were no more episodes at his house. A few years later, Diddy apologized for everything when they ran into each other at a hotel. That was the last thing I expected to get from him. Diddy seemed subdued as Kid Cudi testified, although he looked toward the witness stand. Neither man seemed to react to the other. Kid Cudi didn't look at Diddy when he left the stand. They talked about what he was wearing. He didn't speak to reporters while leaving. Now, one thing I cannot help but notice, right, is like how Diddy, at least they're describing Diddy's, testifying that Diddy's behavior, it just centers around this like weird, dark energy of intimidation, right? And I think he definitely uses it differently when it comes to like men versus women, because like, why are you apologizing to Kid? You know what I mean? I think that a lot of abusers and bullies don't really know how to deal when someone like Kid Cudi is just like literally calling you up immediately, right? Like calling you up, meeting with you the next day, not cowering from you, like, you know what I mean? And so to get an apology or to get these like weird, you know, like threats, like because clearly Diddy could have done even more things, and not to say that he doesn't abuse men, clearly, but the difference in how he approached this situation versus, you know, women, others, you see what I'm saying? I just think, like I said, bullies definitely have to reconsider their tactics when someone isn't cowering. Does that make sense? Not to say that like Kid Cudi wasn't concerned or scared. Like, I mean, but he wasn't gonna just like let this man walk up and through his house without, he wasn't just gonna let this man blow his car without literally confronting him or thinking that this has happened and not do anything and not confront him. And so I do think that, of course, there are people who there are bullies who knock you down no matter what if you stand up to them. And I think that obviously Diddy was, just from the evidence, he was relentless and extreme in certain cases. But sometimes you will see when like how bullies have to readjust themselves, like how abusers have to like readjust their wigs when someone is like calling them up straight up, like cold calling them up, like confronting them, like, and then on top of that, he's comparing, obviously, because he's a narcissist, weak man, like abuser, like he's comparing himself to Kid Cudi because Cassie is, like I'm just thinking about Cassie also and how she was trying to get away from this man, obviously found support and comfort in Kid Cudi, but even though the court was trying to like portray her as living two different lives and seeing Kid Cudi at the same time and as Diddy, but I'm like, if you're in an abusive relationship and you find comfort and peace in this other guy in Kid Cudi, like, is that living like Diddy's lawyers really tried to present it like Cassie living these two lives and lying. She was an abused woman in a messed up situation, and so she found comfort in this guy, but knowing at the same time that this is a situation that she has difficulty escaping and she doesn't want to get Kid Cudi involved, but at the same time she likes this guy, such a hard place to be as somebody who's a victim. And so I don't know, they were in the court, like I said, Diddy's lawyers specifically were in the court trying to spin this like, victim blaming, trying to make Cassie out to be the villain, like to be this Jezebel who's like seeing both Kid Cudi and Diddy at the same time. But I just, hopefully the jurors don't fall for that, because like, come on now, y'all. Let's not act obtuse. Like we see what y'all doing. We see how y'all trying to smear her. So, yep, that's what happened. We had heard this car situation with Kid Cudi a while back. So like I said, it is very interesting to have this new context, to hear Kid Cudi's testimony. Get Diddy out of my face, y'all. Get him out of my face. He tossing boxes of TNT on your car like he crashed Bandicoot. Get him out of here. On that note, thank y'all so much for watching. Love y'all so much. And make sure you have a good evening.
This ain't the